Robert Kennedy as U.S. Attorney General. John Kennedy was elected president in November 1960. He named his brother Robert Kennedy as America's 64th Attorney General, and Kennedy continued to battle corruption in labor unions, as well as mobsters, and he organized crime. And in 1964, he was convicted of usury, tampering, and fraud. As Attorney General, Kennedy also supported the civil rights movement for African Americans, and in the fall of 1962, he sent thousands of federal troops to Oxford, Mississippi, to enforce a U.S. Supreme Court order admitting the first black student, James Meredith, to the University of Mississippi. So he fought mainly for crimes that they were.
So the power of the Universal Declaration is the power of ideas that change the world. It inspires us to continue working to ensure all people can gain freedom, equality, and dignity. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a milestone document in the history of human rights, drafted by representatives with different legal and cultural backgrounds from all religions of the world. It set out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected. It has inspired more than 80 international conventions and treaties, as well as numerous regional conventions and domestic laws. It has been the catalyst for improving human rights protections for groups such as disabled people, indigenous people, and women. It has been translated into more than 360 languages.
The objectives was to realize Robert F. Kennedy's dream of a more equitable and peaceful world. Since 1968, the team of lawyers, specialists in field, lawyers, business owners, and first-rate writers has been united by a commitment to equality and social justice. So the legacy of John F. Kennedy was has allowed people all across the world to discuss issues of social justice and human rights. Robert F. Kennedy human rights work to advance the social, economic, and racial fairness that he envisioned for all. So they advocate for critical human rights issues, pursuing strategic lawsuits to hold governments accountable across the country and beyond the world. They defend the change agents who inspire human rights defend all across the world. They work with businesses to help them become more aligned with human rights standards. And in order to ensure long-term change, they educate millions of students on human rights, forming the next generation of leaders. So the foundation's goals include, among other things, the defense and promotion of human rights, as well as the development of a culture of peace, tolerance, respect, and reciprocal knowledge among individuals, countries, and civilization, regardless of race, religion, or social class.
John F. Kennedy has had a long-lasting impact and effect on the world and into modern times. He made so many promises but never got the chance to see them through. He played such a big role in revolutionizing politics in America. In the nation's popular memory, Kennedy still commands fascination as a compelling, charismatic leader during a period of immense challenge to the American political body. Even today, there are so many people who are continuing the work that RFK started when he was alive. That speaks a lot to his influence in how it has reached people in today's society. Although Kennedy was assassinated in 1968, his legacy continues through the nonprofit Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Organization. The nonprofit continues the work of RFK, advocating for human rights and social justice. For example, in 1995, President Clinton visited Indianapolis's Martin Luther King Jr. Park to dedicate the Landmark for Peace Memorial commemorating the site where Robert Kennedy delivered his immortal words on the night of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. In 2008, the site was added to the African American Civil Rights Network. Robert F. Kennedy once said, "Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. In crossing each other from a million different centers of energy, and daring those ripples, build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance.